My friends, is Glycine time. Today we're looking at the Sea Kraken, an under-the-radar skin diver and one of my preferred watches. It's Swiss made, it's a budget watch, and surprisingly I like to wear it on leather because the rubber ruins it. Imagine. Glycine, no matter how hard we're trying, it's still a brand which cannot be overlooked. People still care about it. Because usually when we talk about dive watches, we talk about tools, instruments, objects, but built for a purpose. But here, Glycine is doing something slightly different. This feels like a watch inspired by the sea, not just made for it. And that's what I like about it. As you already know, Glycine is a brand with strong roots in tool watches, especially aviation, where historically Glycine registered a lot of patents which, to be relevant back in the days, Rolex had to pay to use them. So a brand with substance, a lot of heritage, where timidly, from time to time, Glycine is bringing some watches from their past recreated with modern machining without losing from its vintage appeal. That's the Sea Kraken. So they stepped into a hybrid space between a vintage diver, modern daily watch, and a design object. Basically, the Sea Kraken is not trying to be the toughest diver out there, it's trying to be the one you actually want to wear every day. So this Sea Kraken is an inspired diver from their heritage. There is a spark but not the fire. They had to come up with a modern take and they successfully did it. This is, for example, an unclear printed image with a Sea Kraken on a 62 mass case but with a different dial layout. There is also a second reference with a similar dial and long lugs with a case similar to the super compressor, the popular Longines Legend diver. And I'm not sure which line they finally decided to follow, but the Sea Kraken is a good looking skin diver, distinct enough to be collected by everyday users. It works as a recreational diver as I used it in my vacations, but also like an everyday watch as this is a compact, nicely tailored vintage piece which surprisingly works very well on leather. So this white dial version is a secondary issue. The original reissue was launched a couple of years ago, coming back with an update on the dial. To basically tie up some things around there, they added the crosshair on the dial, kind of connecting the hands with the markers, bringing up also some diverse colored versions. On the seaside, if you're interested, I can't say it performs that well. A white dial against the sun is not the best option, especially if the dial is not finished on a matted foreground, resulting into a reflective dial which basically distracts from reading the time. You can see throughout these videos on some outdoor shots where the dial in combination with the sun basically melts and some of the graduations or markers will not be visible. Even underwater, the reflections of the light pretty much disrupts the legibility of the dial, and that's kind of the practical side. But I might be too nitpicky in this regard. On the disc diving side, the combination really works, it looks very good. I really like the dial opening and the accented patina color against the contrasted hands. Based on my pure preferences, I would have seen the graphics of the dial a bit thicker to create more contrast with the hands against the dial, but I still can accept it the way it is. It's still a good looking watch for sure. As mentioned, the case of the Sea Kraken, it is inspired from one of their heritage ones and not from the 62 mass model with straight lugs, but from the one which resembles with the Legend diver case, especially from the side. What is worth mentioning is the rectangular appearance of the case because of its 22mm lug width. Imagine, on 39mm diameter we have 22mm lug width. I love this case shape and how this rectangular shape reminds me of the Black by 54, the 62 mass design. However, it's difficult to put on such a thin case with thin lugs a 22mm large strap. It feels overwhelming for the case itself. I tried with some rubbers, they look good chromatically, but it feels they're overwhelming the wrists but also the watch head. For instance, it works on thin tapered 22mm straps or on its standard NATO strap, but on a less tapered rubber, not so much. That is the only inconvenience which I see against the Sea Kraken. Although I love the ratio of the lugs against the rounded bezel, the strap can ruin the entire vibe of the skin diver, which basically should enhance comfort and vintage vibes, right? As quality, I have to be honest, this is a nice surprise. Again, we're talking about a budget skin diver which retails at the moment at around $500, and if the dial is pretty simplistic, the case finishing looks premium. The brushing of the bezel feels refined. It is some sort of a circular satin brush This alongside the lugs are ensuring this retro vibe of the watch. The engravings of the dial and the triangle-less pip looks very cool in relationship with the dial. And then the coinage bezel ensures enough grip. You have to put a bit of power to turn the bezel, and surprise, against other popular divers with pretentious MSRPs, I didn't have issues in turning the bezel of this one while the sea salt was crystallizing underneath the bezel. So 120 firm clicks. Getting back to the case, the lugs are long, brushed on top, polished on the side. I actually love the profile of the case, how they look attached to the rounded volume. I like how they fall towards the wrist, being thinner towards the base, getting thicker towards the tips. This is a design line which I've only seen on the Longines Legend Diver. And then the case back looks even more refined. We actually have a nice engraved boat or ship sailing within severe waves, a nice engraved illustration, but also it's cool the decagonal case back which is brushed against a polished base, which looks quite appealing. Overall, the watch is simple, but not simplistic. And as a respectable skin diver, we have a box sapphire crystal which looks good in combination with the bezel. It breathes vintage vibes. And inside we have the white silver finish dial. It's not a sunburst, but the coating of the dial is reflective, getting brighter when it interacts with the sunlight. We have some patina markers toned in old radium which enhances sufficient contrast with the dial. I also like the split of the crosshair. You'll actually see later on this year why. I like how the logo, the bottom automatic text and the date window are integrated within that crosshair. I also appreciate the contrast enhanced by the hands. We have a pencil short hand for the hour, a generous minute hand with an oversized triangle inspired from their vintage ones, and a long seconds hand with a pip, all accented on the same old radium patina tone. The lume is pretty cool when ignited. I like the transition from the dark markers which are getting brighter than the dial. The transition from the light to shadow is quite cool. This is one of my favorite features of this watch. The lume is not the craziest, but it's pretty good and it's evenly applied. This is what matters, at least for me. As wearability and comfort, as mentioned on rubbers, can be overwhelming because of the ratio between the case size and the thinness of the watch. With those sculpted vintage lines and the thickness of 22mm on a strap, it's quite crazy. On leather in exchange, on a matching brown leather to work chromatically with the markers, it looks very good. I'd say it's one of the fewer skin diver watches which looks better on a leather strap than a NATO Milanese or on rubber. But not to ignore the standard NATO either, although it's a taperless NATO with a double pass, it doesn't look bad in combo with the case. The nylon is comfortable and I'd say it complements the quality of the watch head. As quick specs, this model has a stainless steel case measured 39mm in diameter with 48mm as lug tip to lug tip, 12.7mm in height, 22mm as lug width, has a screwing crown, a sapphire crystal, 15 baud as waterproofness, and inside we have the Sellita SW200S1. Again, this for $450, how it airs at the moment on their website is more than amazing. Overall, I did enjoy this watch. I have it since Black Friday, although the dial gets reflecting on sunny days. I enjoy this pretty much on the seaside. It feels and wears compact. The lines of the watch were very nice. The finishing level is very good. So if you're looking for a true skin diver alternative for budget, you can secure yourself a cool piece to enjoy, not only for the summer season but works on the cold season as well under a sleeve too. This as well will sit in the Hall of Fame and will qualify as a brave bidder on the channel, being the 73rd watch being qualified. Let's go 100 watches and let's go 100k subscribers so I can receive also the YouTube medal plate. So hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm sorry once again for the delay. I was in vacation, I was shooting watches in there, and then I had a little pause, and then I went to a Certina event, and after that I had like 1 month full of work at my 9 to 6 job. So it is what it is. But I'm back. The next episode will be about the Certina DSP H2000. That's an impressive watch to review. I'm looking forward to do that. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and until next time, be brave and stay safe, my friends.